When the Beatles released their music, it was known to shake up the music industry. Believed to have had a role in the Beatles' decision to cease touring that year, John Lennon's bold assertion that the band was more popular than Jesus in 1966 sparked a furious outcry from American Christians. Some of the iconic band's songs were taken off the broadcast due to censorship, which was another problem for them. Some American stations rejected the Ballad of John and Yoko because of its mention to Christ, while the BBC banned A Day in the Life for alleged drug implications. Another contentious song was John Lennon's Happiness is a Warm Gun, which was popular among the Beatles. John wrote the song in 1968 and drew inspiration for the title from a headline he saw in the May 1968 issue of American Rifleman magazine. "I just thought it was a fantastic, insane thing to say," John remarked after his inspiration from Warren W. Herlihy's account about teaching his child to shoot. "Just shot around with a heated gun." Disagreements among the band members over ideas led to notoriously turbulent recording sessions for the 1968 White Album, which featured the song. To make Happiness is a Warm Gun, which touches on numerous issues, 3 sections of different songs were blended, according to John. The song was banned by the BBC and other commercial radio stations due to allegations that it included drug or sex themes. Some believed that the song's namesake, Warm Gun, symbolized John's sexual yearning for Yoko Ono. A love song for Yoko was born out of John's feelings for her. He seemed unconcerned that the song's sexual overtones had been detected by the censors. Meanwhile, John Lennon was an integral member of the renowned band The Beatles and a member of the illustrious songwriting duet with Paul McCartney. The two Liverpool guys, who were friends from boyhood, collaborated on an incredible discography of songs that came to define an entire generation. Lennon sometimes felt a little overshadowed by McCartney's extraordinary creative skill, even though George Harrison and Ringo Starr also contributed significantly to the band's 13 albums. Yesterday, Hey Jude, Blackbird and Let It Be are just a few of the many successes that McCartney has produced throughout the years. But there was always an undercurrent of jealousy in Lennon's adoration for McCartney's skill. The dynamics between the two songwriters were recently discussed by Dan Richter, who was Lennon's assistant, and he implied that McCartney was always a rival for Lennon. Richter said that Lennon was irritated because he thought he couldn't match McCartney's ability to write beautiful melodies with his own incisive and cerebral approach. Beyond their work lives, this underlying conflict permeated Lennon's social encounters. When Richter saw Lennon enter a posh restaurant yesterday, he recalled a funny episode in which a band started performing yesterday. The scene was hilarious and illustrative of how influential McCartney's music is. Lennon pondered the impact of public performances of his music in an interview with journalist David Sheff, conducted in 1980. Recognizing the difficulty of some of his works, he took great delight in hearing people try to play his songs. He joked about how he and Yoko Ono once autographed a violin for a Spanish singer who had performed yesterday without realizing that Lennon wasn't the song's songwriter. The animosity weighed heavily on Lennon behind closed doors. According to Richter, there was a time when Lennon was so irritated by the rivalry that he had his employees make a catalog of all the songs written by the Beatles, with each song credited to either McCartney or himself. When the Beatles broke up in 1970, it stoked the flames of animosity between the two groups. Following their split, McCartney pondered on their relationship in his newly released book, The Lyrics, 1956 to the present. He indicated that Lennon's disposition became hostile during that turbulent period. He made the assumption that Lennon's actions could have been shaped by their upbringing in Liverpool, where it was usual for people to take the offensive in conflicts. Thankfully, Lennon and McCartney's enmity melted down with time, and they made up in the years that followed. Tragically, they were again on good terms until Lennon was killed on December 8, 1980. McCartney reflected on their final chat in the weeks leading up to Lennon's passing. He reminisced about a conversation they had about bread baking, a common ground that let them bond without causing any hidden stress. This little conversation brought back fond memories of their early friendship, which McCartney treasured. He expressed his gratitude for the kindness of their renewed relationship and stressed that he would not alter a thing from their last talk. Lennon and McCartney's complicated relationship reflected the deep tie they had as friends and creative collaborators. It was a web of antagonism, adoration, and, finally, reconciliation,